Okay, so I recently just purchased this cinch machine, and I did a video tutorial on unboxing this and creating 3 notebooks. I created this one, so I put stuck on crafts and glue. Really cute notebook. So this is a 6x6 notebook, and you can sketch, you can doodle, and all that fun stuff. And then I did a smaller one, which is a 5x5. Now I ended up having a cover on here. I didn't like the vinyl, so I took it off. So this is now my front. So if you guys watch that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. For those who have not, be sure to watch that video. I will share that in the link in the description box below. And then I did a smaller one that is 3.5 by 5 inches with a cute little cover on it, and then same thing, notebook. Okay, so that was using this cinch machine. I also did an unboxing of the Thermal Cinch a few months ago, so again, I'll be sure to link that. I believe I did 2 notebooks in that one, but we're gonna do something a little special. We're gonna do some DIY. This is gonna be a long video because we gotta create the notebook, create the binding, use 2 of the machines, compare and contrast. So sit back, relax, enjoy your coffee or a little beverage that you're drinking, and enjoy this video. So let's talk about the differences. Well, this is thermal, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna use these Thermal Cinch binding strips, and you put it in the little cinch machine. It melts this glue and creates a notebook, right? This one creates little punches and uses the binding spiral strips. So I wish I had the example of this one, but we will at the end of this video. I just don't have it because I used it all up. So with that being said, thermal, this one is not thermal. We're going to talk about the pros and cons. So let's just talk about the comparison between the two. This one is super light. All right, it's not heavy at all. It requires power because you have to heat your your Thermal Cinch strips. And then this one is a little bit heavier, but actually it's not too heavy as you would think. And this one is manual work. So anyways, weight wise, this one's for sure lighter. This one's a little bit heavier, but I don't think it's that heavy. And I think that, so if weight's an issue, if you guys can't lift heavy things or use levers, so for example, you have to push down, if that's something that you can't do, then you might want to look into using the Thermal Cinch instead of this one, okay? Now, the required stuff that you need to make the Thermal Cinch. So you will need, of course, the machine. You will need to use the cinch glue strips. You will also need the binding paper. So this one I did when I was making my previous video. Okay, and then now they do sell these little strips here, but if you want to make your own, then you will need, of course, the cardstock and then a double-sided tape, and then these as well. Now, the Thermal or We Are Makers does sell these borders, if you will, that already has it pre-done for you, but if you like to DIY your stuff, then you can make your own, which we will make our own in today's video. Again, today is going to be a very lengthy video. And then you will also need some binder clips. And that is it. Of course, your cardstock and whatnot. So that's all you need for this. Now for this one, you don't need anything other than a couple things. You'll need binding wires. Now We Are Makers does sell them. I bought a bundle that came with the machine, but you can buy from other companies where it's a little cheaper. But you'll need the binding wires, you'll need some pliers, and then you will need to use a needle nose plier to bend the wire once you're done binding everything. So that is it for this machine, and of course your cardstock. So really you have just this. With the thermal, you need the clips, the strip, the glue strips, and then the machine. So about the same amount of stuff that you need for each machine. So there's that in comparison, okay? So let me move that to the side. Expense-wise, I have not looked into that. I just didn't get a chance, but I believe this is a little bit cheaper. Let me check my phone here. Okay, so on Amazon, they have the Thermal Cinch in this cyan color for $56.99. They do have it in a bundle for $69.99, so for $10 more. And then for... see, I know what the thermal, let's take that out. And then for this one, the one that I purchased is $99.95, so $100. I believe I purchased the bundle, yes I did, and it was $114.99 as of July 3rd, which I know this video is not going to come out for a little while, but this is 150, it's on sale for $115, and $124.57 is the original price of what they're selling on Amazon. Now, of course, this is just Amazon, and you may find it cheaper somewhere else. Okay, so this is, what did I say, 16, this is $100, so $40 more for this machine. It's a little bit more expensive, but I personally, you're going to find out which one I prefer between the two machines, and I'll give you that at the end. Now, again, I have a tutorial on how to use both of these, so we're going to go at a little bit of a faster pace in this video. But again, I have the unboxing and the tutorial in the description box below, so that way you can watch both of those. Okay, so I'm going to move the... so that's the main differences between the two. As we're creating with each one, I'll explain some comparison and contrasts between the two. So I think we're going to create our books first. I'm going to move this to the side here. Okay, the first one that we are going to make is the Thermal Cinch notebook, and I got a few materials. So I have these. This is going to be my front cover, and then this is going to be my back cover, and we're going to add a little bit of a thickness to our cover, and then this is going to be our binding strip as well. So again, this is going to be kind of a lengthy video. Now this is what it's going to look like in the inside. So this is how it's going to look on the inside, and then this one, again, that's the back cover, and it's going to look like this. So front and then back. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and then we are going to make a 5x7 little notebook using a Thermal Cinch, so 5x7, and I currently do not have any chipboard, so I'm using, I got this on clearance at Michael's. It's Make Market. It's a matte board. And this is, I think, what's the thickness? It's 0.8. Now, I think the cinch, not the Thermal Cinch, I know we're working on the Thermal Cinch, but the other machine, you can cut up to or punch into 2 millimeter thick. And that's important to know because the chipboard, it's actually a chalkboard that's made out of chipboard. It's 1.7. I haven't cut anything that thick. So we'll see how that plays out. So again, we're doing a 5x7, and what you're going to do, since we're making a really cool cover, you're going to want to cut your front cover an inch bigger. So this is actually going to be 6x8. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this part's completely optional. You can fold it as you will. So what I'm going to do is, so this is good again at 6. So I'm going to score it at 5.5. Okay. Now my scoreboard's not that long, so I'll have to reverse it, right? But then I'm going to score it at 1/2. And then let's turn it around, score it again at the 1/2 inch. Okay, and then I'm going to score this down at 5.5. Oops, I'm sorry, not 5.5. I guess it's just over. That's all right. I'm going to rotate this at 1/2. Sorry about that. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and finish my score here and then score this to finish it. I have to do this again just because my cardstock, my cardstock is bigger than this. That's why I had to do that, okay? So there's my score. You can kind of see it. So again, I'm gonna score this. And actually, I should be scoring it on the reverse side so it folds in. So I kind of did this a little backwards. So what you're going to do, okay, so what you're going to do is get out your scoreboard and you're going to score at the 1/2 inch. So I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. And I had to score this a couple times just because my scoreboard is not that long. So I'm going to score it and I'll have to reverse it and finish the rest. So 5.5 or a 1/2 here, and then I'm going to score at the 5.5 inch mark here. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate it, score it at the 1/2 inch here. Okay, and then I can't score it over here because it's too long, so I'm going to rotate it one more time, 5.5 to get the other side, and rotate it again to finish up my score. Now, if your scoreboard is longer than mine, then you don't have to worry about this part, but mine is not that long, so this is why you have to score it again. And then I think I got all of my scores in. Okay, so you're going to do that for all 4 of your pieces. So let me get that done real quick. Okay, while I have my scoreboard, I'm going to get my binding strip, okay? Again, we're working on the thermal, so I cut myself a 3 inch by 7 inch little strip here, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to find a halfway point. Now, of course, you can make this as wide or as, well, I wouldn't go too much narrower than the 3, because 3 inches, just because it might be a little bit hard to work with, but I would say 3 or wider. So 1/2 of 3 is 1.5, and you want to do a 1/4 inch thick for the strip the glue strip to go on. So what we're going to do is we're going to score it at, so 1/2 inch, we're going to score it at 3/8, and then I'm going to score it at 5/8, okay? And that will give us a nice 1/4 inch where our strip is going to go. Now I have to do it on the reverse side because, again, it's not long enough for, oops, not long enough. My score body is not that long. Okay, so there's my binding strip. Okay, easy peasy. Now, what we're going to do is bring in these mats. Now, I would use chipboard. Since they're white, you really don't need to add a inside decorative thing to it. In fact, you probably don't even need to score all 4 now that I'm thinking about it. So we might just trim alongside it, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know, probably not. So I'm going to get my front cover. My front cover is this. So it's just going to go on like so, right in where you scored it. But before I do, I want to take the bulk off of the edges here. So I am going to, I'm going to go ahead and yeah, I probably didn't need to score all 4 now that I'm thinking about it. So, because we're going to fold one and then glue the other one. So I might just need to trim it down to the, trim it down. Okay. So let me just, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to trim the bulk off. So I'm going to cut the corners on the inside of the score, and I'm going to do that to all 4 corners. See how I trim that? That's just taking the bulk off of the fold. This is going to be so fun to compare both of them, and I haven't done this type of binding in the cinch either. Okay, so there we go. And then you could just train your paper. Now, the score is just going to help you a little bit because this is a little bit thicker, so it's just there to really help you with the fold here. So I'm just training my paper. Okay, now what you're going to want to do is you want to get some liquid glue. And I am going to, in fact, actually, I'm not going to do liquid glue, I lied. I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner, just so that way I don't use too much of my liquid glue. I always worry that you're going to see the bead of glue. So on something large like this, so that's why I opt for my whatchamacallit, my double-sided tape. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this on center as best as possible. And I have that on there. I can go ahead and train my paper. And then I'm also going to cut 45-degree cuts. Now you could have done this before. I guess I should have done that a little bit before to cut more of that bulk off. So yeah, definitely should have done that first. Now that I have my pieces all trimmed off, see now this would fold a little bit better. Got it off centered a little bit. I'm gonna have to bring this a little bit over, just a little bit to fold that better. Okay, that's good. So bringing in my liquid glue, I'm going to run some glue alongside that, and then fold it over. Really make sure you pull it taut, and you're going to hold it down until the glue starts to dry. Okay, let's go ahead and do the next side. And I'm just using some art glitter glue. So nothing too fancy. It's just regular glue that I use to make my cards. It's turning out nicely. Okay. Love this glue. It dries really fast. So there is my front cover. Now, here is why I was telling you it's important to add, oh, and I have that big crease in there, but that's all right. It is what it is. I don't think I have another cardstock that's that size. Let me check. So I have another piece. Luckily I have another piece, so that's going to work out. So okay, you only need to score just 2 of them, your front and your back cover. And I don't know why I was thinking you're going to score both of them. And then I would say, since this is about 5 inches, I would say trim it down to 4.75 by 6.75. So that's what we're going to do with this piece. So this is going to be 6.75. Okay. And then we're going to do 4.75. This is the Be Happy from, I think it's Echo Park or Cardabella. I'll try to link it below. I have made some really fun cards with this, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Okay, so then this is going to be your inside cover of your book. Okay, so I'm going to put that glue there and add my tape runner. Okay, there we go. And then you're just going to carefully place this on top. Okay, that looks good. So now you have your thick cover page. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next one off camera real quick. off camera, I went ahead and did both the binding for the one that we're going to use for the wired binding strips, and then the only thing of it is I wish I would have done a little bit better job with the corners, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But here's what that looks like, and then this is the back cover. How pretty are these, right? So I got those done, and then here's what this one looks like. Really pretty. Backside, and then this is the inside. So I love that this is like just so cute. And here's that strip. I went ahead and folded it. Now I think it's going to be a little bit too thick, so I may have to, this might be a little bit too thick, so I'll have to maybe take out some papers just because of how thick my my cardboard is. Okay, so what I'm going to do off camera, just to kind of save some time, I'm actually going to embellish this a little bit. I have these dies. I'm going to put my initials on here. So we have R-E-D, which again is backwards. So here we go. So R-E-D. So that's going to go on this one. And then, so I'll do that off camera and I'll put it on there after we punch it. And then I also am going to use from the Stamp Market Fabulously Framed Cover Die. I don't think I'm going to use this one, so I'm going to move that to the side. And I'm just going to add a cute little frame to this. And add this cute little bow. I'm going to use some colors that I picked out here to the side. So I'm going to get that done off camera real quick, and then we'll get to cinching both of them. Went ahead and got everything all prepped and ready, and so it has this little handy dandy thing that you can wrap your cord around, which is super nice. I actually didn't realize it the first time, and until I was watching more videos on this, I'm like, oh, nice. I should have done that. So that would have been smart. Okay, so what I'm doing is plugging this in, and there's a little button that you just click to turn it on. And it's gonna blink until it will go static. Oops. And once it goes static, then it is ready for it to you to do your thing. Okay, so first of all, what we want to do is add some double-sided tape to the edge here. Okay. So I think this might be, I've never done a hardcover before, so I'm a little nervous to do that on camera. So bear with me while I do that. I think I need to take out, I think they said about 25 pages is what they recommend. But, you know, we'll see. Okay, I think this is going to be good for my binding strip. So pull that out and get a little piece like so. Okay, so from what I've done my research on, you don't want the strip to go all the way down because it will seep and get into your machine. You hear that beep? That is telling me that it is ready to go. So I'm just going to cut about just a little shy of the full length. Okay. And then I'm going to peel that backer off and put that down the center of the spine. Okay, dang, I went a little bit too short, so I am going to cut just a really small piece. Okay. Oops. Alright, so now that I have that done, I'm going to put that, okay, so I left a little bit of a gap. Then here comes the fun part. So again, you want to make sure that that glue is going to cover, which it will. So what I'm going to do is make sure I'm going to tap this down. In fact, I think it might help So this is a process. This is my least favorite process, is to make sure that it all fits in correctly, because you want to make sure that that glue, and I'm releasing the backers of the double-sided tape, you want to make sure that glue is going to melt on all of the pages. So that's just, this is like, I don't like this part, because if you don't do it right and get all those papers down at that bottom, it's just, then you're gonna have these loose papers. So I'm also going to get a few of these clips out and get it ready. Okay, so I'm tapping it down as best as possible. Okay, so this part I'm just, you know, I'm really apprehensive of doing. Again, making sure I'm pushing it all the way down. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to make sure that that glue is straight on there. And I'm going to push that in. Okay, so now I have my binding strip there, and I'm going to make sure that's all pushed down, and I'm going to use my binder clips. I will say this process is a little easier when you have a hard cover. I've done it with a soft cover, and it was a little hard. It's a little hard to try to, because it's so flimsy. Okay, so there's a little button here on the side that you're going to press. It's the timer, and it says timer. And then you're going to just push it down. You can leave that there, and then you're going to hit the timer button, and it's going to blink, and it will beep once it's done. Okay, so it just beeped. I'm going to pull this out. Now, before I let it sit, a little trick of my trade here is really push down your paper into that glue, okay, because you want all of that glue. So, and I'm also putting pressure on the base here. Okay, so now that I've done that, again, really pushing that down, I feel like that just made a difference. And then you could set it right there to cool down. And then of course you can unplug this now that it's done. And actually I really don't need to set it down to cool, because it's already cooling down as is. Now they do say, I should probably turn that off first. They do say that you should wait 24 to 48 hours before really opening up your book. So we're gonna go ahead and let that cool down here in a moment, and then we'll open it up. Okay, so I really want to decorate this, but I want to bring in the next one. So we're gonna put that to the side, and we'll decorate both of them at the end. So here's the next one. Okay, we're gonna bring in the cinch. You're gonna push this down, open this up, and this is really thick, 1.7. You can do up to 2, so I'm gonna have to put a lot of pressure. And I believe the one I need to pull out is 10. And I will tell you that this has a guide of, now I know this is not in English, but just to save myself from opening up everything, if you have, it's 5 inches, and so that means I need to pull peg 10. So you're just, oops, did not mean to punch on that, but you're just pulling these pegs, and you don't need to worry about pulling those, because it's not going to punch. So that way number 10, it does not punch. I want to make sure that's all the way in, and then go ahead. Oh, it did beautiful. It did beautiful. Look at that. Perfection. And then this one, again, making sure 10 is still up, and pushing that down. Look at that. That did wonderfully. Love it. Okay, let me go get these done real quick, and then we'll assemble this. So now that that's done, what I'm going to do is get my binding strip. Let's see. I think I want to do white. Okay, so you're going to turn it to the other side, and you're going to put the flat part in. And, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to feed this through, and like so, super easy. And then you're also going to, what you're going to do is you're going to put your top, this is my top facing notebook, so I'm going to put that in. And then I'm going to put my This is the back, right? So this is the inside of the back. This is the front side of the back. I'm going to turn that around and put it like that. Okay, so you want both sides, pretty side facing each other. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to get a pair of pliers to cut the flat side of that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and snip that like so. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to kind of, probably could do this afterwards. I'm going to bring it in so it doesn't, you know, poke. All right. So then I'm going to turn it around and put the flat side down. In fact, I got to do it on this side here. Curl this part in. I'm still trying to get used to that part. Okay, I can do a little bit better job. I'll work on that later. Okay, so then I'm going to bring it in on the back of it and push that up against it. Okay, and then I'm going to probably change this to 5/8. I don't want to, I'll do 3/4 and see how that does. I'm going to press down. And I can go just a little bit better. So let's go to 5/8. I think that does a lot. Oh, much better. 5/8 was perfect. You want to be careful of going too tight, because then it's just going to look kind of weird. Okay, so then I'm done with this. Move that out of my way. And then the reason why we went ahead and did the back side like this facing the front side is so that way you can hide the seam. So here is my notebook. Let me just fix that real quick. There we go. Here's my notebook. Isn't it beautiful? And you could actually have it facing this way. How cute is that? Or face it this way. Either way, here's the back side of it. There's that seam, it's hidden, and there's the back side. Love it. Okay, so that is the main difference. We'll talk about which one. Let's take a look at this one now. And you could totally do this size for this and vice versa. And I'm going to open that up. We'll check our work. And there we go. Okay, so I can already see that I'm having issues right there. So, oh, that's the back side. Is it the back side? Yeah, so that part, I may have to work at that a little bit. And you can train your paper, you know, so, yeah. Here's the thing, it's wanting to rip. That's the bad part. And that could be because it was too thick of a, I can reheat it and fix it again. So I might just do that off camera, but it's probably because it's too thick for that binding strip. So maybe next time if I were to do this, I would do 2 strips, and then of course instead of doing a 1/4 inch fold here, I would do a 1/2 inch to accommodate the 2 strips, and then I think that would have worked out a little bit better. But so before I give you my honest thoughts on which one I like the most, let's decorate this real quick. So I have this cute little border frame, if you will, and then I thought how cute would that be just to give it a little something, you know, cute and visually interest in it. So then I'm going to turn that around and add some glue, and I'm only going to add the glue on the inside of the frame here. Okay. Excuse me if you hear my daughter playing in the background. I told them, I said, let me just finish this video real quick and then we can go do our thing. So I apologize if you can hear them play, but that's okay. Just the way my life is right now. Hashtag mom life, and there's my phone going off. All right, so I'm just gonna plop that on here where I like it. And the reason why I didn't glue any of these sides is that way they can pop up a little bit, just to give a little bit of a visual interest. Not much, but it's enough to give interest. Sorry about that, my phone was going off. Okay, so then that little bow goes right up top. So I'm gonna turn that around, put it on here like so. Okay. Bring out my little block. And then I'm gonna set that aside while that's gluing. Now I gotta determine, do I want it to go this way? I guess I should have thought about this a little bit better. But my idea was to have it go this way, but I kind of like the side folding as the option. So I added 4 layers of cardstock for this. And I think because I have so many top folding ones that I did earlier in a different video, I'm going to do, well, to me it just makes sense to go this way because of the design. Okay, there we go. It's just holding that down to make sure the glue adheres. And then we are good to go. We have the one with the binding strips and then, or the wire binding strip, and then we have the Thermal Cinch here. And I'm gonna have to try to repeat this process one more time, just because of what I have going on there. Not exactly sure what happened. Maybe just not enough glue, or it was just too thick. So here's both of the Thermal Cinch, and which one do I so obviously you can tell the main difference is that, you know, you have the glue and then you have the wired, and you know, you got the hole punching and all that. Now you could also add this binding strip on here too to give more of a visual interest, but I don't know, I guess I would say the one that I prefer between the two is going to be the one with the wire. So if I would say the less errors you're going to have is, to me, is the cinch with the wired binding wire. I feel like you're going to have a less of an issue, and this could just be me as well, but I feel like you're going to have the chances for the probability, or the chances of having it more of an issue is going to be with the thermal because of that glue. It's going to take some practice. You're going to need to know like how thick you're going to make it, and then, you know, kind of take it from there. Like once you really practice it, I'm sure it will become a cinch. No pun intended. But I honestly feel like you will have more accuracy doing the binded wire than you would with this. But they both have their merits. Like you don't have to hole punch, you know, the edge here, so that's nice. And you could do, this is the first time I've done a hardcover, so I'm actually surprised. See, this one I need to train my paper, but I want to be kind of careful with that. I want to wait at least 24 hours before I really train, because you want to train your paper one by one, and you know, and then make sure it all works out. But so I'm not going to open them up all the way, but yeah. So, and then this one, you don't have to train any paper. It is good to go. You know, the thing of it is with this one, it is a little bit more expensive, and then of course you got to buy the binding wire. And I haven't researched to see how much the binding wire is, not from We Are Makers. I know it's pretty expensive through We Are Makers, so just something to consider. Well, hopefully this video is informative and teach you how to make a hardback cover. And also let me know which one that you are more apt to looking at purchasing. Like I said, if I would have to pick only one, I'd probably do the binding strip over the Thermal Cinch. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys all in the next card or craft video. Bye.